Ayan was 25 years old, living in a modest neighborhood in Lahore. His world was small: work, home, and his sketchbook. People often said he was too quiet, but his silence wasn't emptiness. It was full of unspoken thoughts, unexpressed dreams, and a heart waiting for something, or someone. He worked at a local advertising agency as a junior designer. His colleagues barely noticed him, and his boss often dismissed his ideas as too simple. Yet, Ayan never complained. He was the kind of person who carried storms inside but smiled outside. At home, things weren't much different. His parents loved him, but they didn't really know him. They thought he was shy, maybe even a little lost. And maybe he was. His friends. Well, he had a few, but even with them, Ayan was more of a listener than a speaker. Deep down, Ayan longed for connection, for someone who could see beyond his silence and understand the language of his heart. But he never said this to anyone. On the other side of the city, Zara lived a very different life. She was 22, in her final year at university, studying literature. Her dream was to become a writer, but reality had other plans. After her father's sudden death 2 years ago, Zara's life had changed. Her mother, a strong woman, stitched clothes day and night to keep the household running. Zara, being the eldest daughter, carried responsibilities that were far bigger than her age. Despite her struggles, she never let her smile fade. People often admired her positivity, unaware of the silent battles she fought each day. She believed in love, in dreams, in destiny, but she also knew that life didn't always give people what they wanted. Their worlds had no reason to collide. But fate has its own mysterious timing. One chilly December evening, Ayan was invited to his cousin's engagement. Normally, he avoided such gatherings, but his mother insisted, "Beta, you should go. Meet people, enjoy yourself. Life isn't just about work." So, reluctantly, he dressed up in a simple kurta and blazer and went to the banquet hall. The place was glowing with fairy lights, laughter, and music. Cousins danced, children ran around, elders sat gossiping in groups. Ayan, as always, found himself a quiet corner, holding a cup of tea, watching the chaos from afar. He felt like an outsider in his own family. And then, she walked in. Zara. She entered the hall with a group of friends. Unlike the others, who wore heavy lehengas and glittering jewelry, Zara's simplicity stood out. She wore a soft pink dress with delicate embroidery, her long hair tied loosely, and just a touch of kajal in her eyes. No expensive ornaments, no loud makeup, yet somehow, she looked like the most beautiful person in the room. Ayan noticed her instantly. His heart skipped. His eyes, unwilling, yet helpless, kept following her. She wasn't laughing the loudest, yet her smile carried warmth. She wasn't the center of attention, yet to him, she was all that existed. "Who is she?" Ayan whispered to his cousin standing nearby. "Oh, that's Zara," the cousin replied casually. "She's my fiancé's best friend. They studied together." Ayan nodded, pretending it was nothing. But inside, something stirred. He didn't know her, but he felt like, maybe he wanted to. The evening went on. While others were busy dancing and clicking selfies, Ayan kept noticing the small things Zara did. The way she helped an elder auntie adjust her dupatta when it slipped. The way she gently told a little kid, "Careful, don't run, you'll fall." The way she went to the kitchen to help the waiters serve food, while most guests sat comfortably waiting to be served. Every action spoke about her character, kind, grounded, real. And for the first time in years, Ayan felt alive. Later that night, as he stood in his corner sipping another cup of tea, Zara walked past him. By chance, or maybe fate, she looked in his direction. Their eyes met. Just for a second. But that second stretched like eternity. Zara paused, walked closer, and asked softly, "Excuse me, is this the way to the ladies' room?" Her voice was calm, polite, carrying a sweetness that felt like music. Ayan froze for a second, then quickly pointed toward the corridor. His voice trembled slightly, "Yes, just straight ahead." "Thank you," she smiled, a small but genuine smile, before walking away. That smile. Ayan knew he would never forget it. He stood there, holding his teacup, his heart racing. It wasn't love yet, maybe not even attraction, it was something deeper. Something he couldn't name. the night went on. Music got louder, laughter filled the hall, and dances continued. But Aion stayed in his corner, his eyes occasionally searching for her in the crowd. He didn't speak to her again. He didn't even try. But when Zara finally left, Aion felt a strange emptiness, as if the room had lost its light. As he walked out of the hall later, he whispered to himself, "Maybe she'll never know, but tonight, something changed in me." And just like that, without either of them realizing, a story began. A story of love, of pain, of dreams, of heartbreak. A story that destiny had written long before they ever met. A week had passed since Aion first saw Zara at the engagement. Life looked the same on the outside: work, sketches, teacups, late nights, but inside, he was restless. Her smile had carved a space in his thoughts. He didn't know why she stayed on his mind. Maybe because she was different. Maybe because she carried a warmth the world had forgotten. At night, lying on his bed, he found himself replaying that one glance, that one smile. Was it just me who felt something? He wondered. On the other side, Zara had no idea that someone was thinking about her. Her days were full: university, assignments, helping her mother with tailoring, and managing home. Love was a faraway thought. She believed in it, yes, but she didn't expect it. Not with the kind of responsibilities she carried. Yet, destiny doesn't ask for permission. 2 weeks later, another family gathering was planned, this time, a small dinner at Aion's cousin's house. Zara was invited again, because of her best friend, the bride-to-be. When Aion heard Zara might be there, his heart betrayed him. He told himself, "Don't expect too much. She probably won't even notice you." But somewhere deep inside, he wanted fate to give him another chance. That evening, the house was filled with the smell of biryani and laughter. Families sat together, sharing food and stories. Aion, as usual, found himself sitting quietly near the bookshelf in the drawing room, avoiding the crowd. And then, there she was. Zara walked in with her friend, carrying a tray of snacks to help the hosts. She wore a simple blue kurta, her hair tied back in a braid. No makeup, no jewelry, yet she looked effortlessly graceful. Aion's heart skipped again. This time, she noticed him. "Aren't you the one from the engagement?" Zara asked politely, putting the tray down. Aion straightened up, nervous. Yes. I'm Aion, cousin of the groom." She smiled warmly. "Right, I remember. You were standing in the corner the whole night. Very quiet." Aion's cheeks warmed. I guess I'm not good with crowds." Zara chuckled softly. "Neither am I, honestly. But I try to blend in." That was the first time Aion saw her laugh closely, and it felt like music, soft and unforced. As the evening went on, they found themselves talking again, this time by coincidence. While others were busy eating and chatting loudly, Zara picked up a book from the shelf. "You like reading?" Aion asked, surprised. "Very much," she nodded. "Books are my escape. They make me believe in worlds where things are kinder." Aion smiled faintly. "I draw for the same reason. It's like creating a world of my own." For a moment, their eyes met again, and it was as if they understood something unspoken about each other, the need to escape, to create, to dream. Later that night, when guests began leaving, Zara helped her friend clear the plates. Aion, hesitant but brave for once, offered, "Let me help too." She looked at him curiously. "Really? Most guys run away from this kind of work." Aion shrugged. "I don't mind. I like quiet corners, even in the kitchen." Zara laughed again. And in that laughter, something new was born. A comfort. A connection. When she finally left, Aion stood at the gate quietly, watching her car disappear into the night. His heart whispered, "Maybe destiny is giving me a chance." But love never comes alone. It comes with tests. And neither of them knew that their growing connection was about to be tested in ways they could never imagine. Love doesn't arrive suddenly like a storm. Sometimes, it tiptoes into your life like sunlight slipping through a half-open window. After that evening at his cousin's dinner, Aion couldn't stop thinking about Zara. This time it wasn't just her smile. It was the way she listened, the way her words carried weight, the way her laughter wasn't loud but sincere. And for the first time, he wasn't afraid of his own feelings. He wanted to see her again. Fate, once again, played its part. The wedding preparations for Ion's cousin were in full swing. Zara, being the bride-to-be's closest friend, was always around. Mandi rehearsals, shopping trips, last-minute arrangements, she became a familiar face in the family gatherings. At first, Ion stayed in his usual quiet corner. But now, he wasn't invisible anymore. Zara noticed him. And slowly, conversations began to flow. One evening, during Mandi dance practice, everyone insisted Ion should join. He shook his head, embarrassed. "I can't dance," he muttered. From across the room, Zara teased, "Everyone can dance, some just pretend they can't." Ion smirked, "Well, I'm one of those pretenders." "Fine then," she laughed. "Be our audience. But don't disappear into your corner." And for the first time, Ion stayed. Watching her laugh, watching her move with her friends, watching her glow. Days passed. Small conversations turned into longer ones. On one shopping trip, when everyone was busy bargaining at a store, Ion and Zara found themselves walking a little behind the group. "You don't talk much, do you?" Zara asked. Ion glanced at her. "I do. Just only with people I feel comfortable with." "And do you feel comfortable with me?" she asked softly. Ion hesitated, then whispered, "More than you know." Zara looked away, hiding a smile. She didn't expect that answer. Sometimes, their bond showed in the smallest gestures. Like when Zara's dupatta got stuck in a chair and Ion quietly freed it before she noticed. Or when Ion forgot his sketchbook at the bride's house and Zara kept it safe, teasing, "Don't worry, I didn't peek, though I was tempted." Or when the group sat together eating ice cream, and without realizing, they both ordered the same flavor, chocolate fudge. Every little thing was becoming a thread, weaving them closer. But it was one quiet night that changed everything. It was after the Mandi function. Everyone had left, laughter and music still echoing in the empty hall. Ion stepped outside for fresh air and saw Zara sitting alone on the garden bench, staring at the stars. He walked over gently. "You okay?" Zara smiled faintly. "Yes, just needed a moment." Ion sat beside her. Silence hung between them, but it wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. After a while, she whispered, "You know, I love stars. They make me believe there's something bigger than our struggles. That maybe our lives aren't as small as they seem." Ion looked at her, his heart softening. "And maybe, some stars are people. They come into our lives and light it up." Zara turned to him, surprised by his words. For a moment, she didn't speak. She just looked into his eyes, and in that gaze, something unspoken passed between them. Neither said the word love. Neither confessed. But in that silence, their bond deepened more than words could ever express. That night, when Ion lay in bed, he whispered to himself, "If this is not love, then what is it?" But love is never simple. With every step closer, life waits with tests. And soon, the tests would begin. Every love story has two faces, one of laughter and light, and the other of doubt and silence. The wedding week had finally arrived. The house was alive with music, colors, and endless relatives. For Ion, it was supposed to be just another family function, but this time, everything felt different. Because Zara was there. Their bond had quietly grown stronger in the past few days. They had shared small talks, exchanged little glances, and laughed at jokes that only they seemed to understand. To the world, they were just two people in the same crowd. But to them, the crowd had already disappeared. Still, neither had confessed. They didn't need to, at least not yet. Their silence carried enough meaning. But love is fragile. Sometimes, even the smallest ripple can disturb the calmest waters. On the night of the Mandi, as the music played and everyone danced, Zara's phone rang. She stepped outside to answer. Ion, standing nearby, accidentally overheard. "Yes, I'll be there soon," she whispered on the phone. "Please don't worry. I promised I won't let you down." Her tone was urgent, almost emotional. She cut the call quickly when she noticed Ion watching from a distance. For a moment, their eyes met. Zara looked startled. Ion tried to smile, but something inside him twisted. Who was she talking to? Later that evening, Ion's cousin teased loudly, "Array Zara, you're always on your phone these days. Secret admirer, The whole group laughed. Zara smiled faintly, brushing it off. "It's nothing like that." But Ion's heart tightened. He didn't know why. He had no right over her, no claim, but still, the thought of her belonging to someone else made his chest ache. The next day, during wedding shopping, Ion tried to stay distant. Zara noticed. "You're quiet today," she said softly while the others bargained in the shop. "I'm always quiet," he replied flatly, avoiding her gaze. Zara frowned. "Not with me." Ion stayed silent, pretending to look at a set of bangles. His silence hurt her more than words. That night, Ion's thoughts raced. Why should it matter to me? She's free to talk to anyone. Maybe she already has someone in her life. Maybe I'm just imagining all of this. He wanted to ask her, but fear of the answer kept him silent. On the wedding day, another moment shook him. As Zara helped the bride get ready, a young man entered the room with gifts. He smiled warmly at Zara, handing her a box. "I got this for you. You'll love it." Zara looked uncomfortable. "You shouldn't have." But the man insisted, "Come on, you know I had to." Ion, standing at the door, froze. He didn't hear the rest. He walked away, his heart sinking, convinced that Zara already belonged to someone else. During the wedding dinner, Zara tried to talk to him again. "Ion, why are you avoiding me?" she asked, her eyes searching his. "I'm not," he said coldly. "Yes, you are. Did I do something wrong?" Ion looked at her for a long moment. His lips wanted to say no, you did nothing wrong. But his heart was drowning in doubts. So instead, he whispered, "Maybe we shouldn't talk so much. People might misunderstand." Zara's face fell. She looked away, hiding the sting in her eyes. And that night, for the first time, she cried. Not knowing why he was pulling away. Love had entered their lives quietly. And now, misunderstandings had too. The distance between them, once unthinkable, had begun. But destiny wasn't done yet. Something bigger was waiting. After the wedding, life returned to routine. The lights, the music, the laughter, all faded. But one thing didn't fade, the distance between Ion and Zara. 4 days, Ion avoided calling, avoided messages, avoided every chance of meeting. His silence was not because he didn't care, no, it was because he cared too much. And in his heart, he had already written a cruel story. She belongs to someone else. I'm just a passing chapter. Zara, on the other hand, was confused. Hurt. Angry. She couldn't understand what had gone wrong. We were just beginning to connect. Why did he suddenly build a wall? One evening, fate brought them face to face again. The bride, Zara's best friend, now married into Ion's family, invited both of them for dinner. Zara hesitated to go, but she didn't want to disappoint her friend. Ion came too, forced by his cousin. The air was thick with unspoken words. While others laughed and chatted at the dinner table, Ion barely looked up from his plate. Zara noticed every second of his silence. Finally, unable to hold it in, she excused herself to the garden. Ion followed a few minutes later. She turned to him, eyes brimming with unshed tears. "Ion, what's happening? Why are you acting like this?" He looked down, clenching his fists. "Nothing. I'm just busy." "Busy," she repeated, her voice trembling. "You weren't like this before. We used to talk, laugh, share things. Now you act like I don't even exist." Ion's chest tightened, but his pride wouldn't let him confess his fear. Instead, he muttered, "Maybe we were getting too close. People will talk. It's better this way." Zara's eyes widened. "Too close? Is that how you see it?" Ion stayed silent. Her voice broke. "Do you know how much that hurts? To be pushed away without a reason? If I did something wrong, tell me. Don't punish me with silence." Still, Ion said nothing. His heart screamed to tell her I love you, I just don't want to lose you. But his lips betrayed him. Zara took a deep breath, tears now rolling down her cheeks. You know what, Ion? I thought maybe we understood each other. Maybe we were something more than strangers. But maybe I was wrong. Maybe you never felt what I felt. Her words cut through him like glass. He wanted to stop her, to hold her, to tell her she was wrong. But fear chained him down. She turned to leave. For a moment, she paused, her voice breaking. You could have just told me the truth. At least I would have had clarity. But this silence, this hurts more than rejection. And with that, she walked away. Ion stood frozen in the garden, the sound of her footsteps echoing like thunder in his chest. When she finally disappeared into the night, he whispered to himself, his voice cracking. I love you, Zara. I always have. But maybe, you'll never know. And in that moment, for the first time, both of them felt the weight of heartbreak, different reasons, same pain. Love had bloomed between them. But tonight, it had withered, leaving behind only unanswered questions and broken silences. And destiny, it wasn't done testing them yet. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. And sometimes, it destroys more than anger ever could. Weeks passed after that night in the garden. For Ion, life looked the same, office, sketches, teacups, long walks home, but inside, nothing was the same. He carried Zara in his thoughts every second. He missed her voice, her laughter, even the way she teased him. Yet, he convinced himself that pulling away was the right thing. Every night, before sleeping, he whispered to himself, this is better. She deserves someone stronger. Not me. But deep down, he knew, this wasn't strength. This was fear. Zara, on the other hand, tried to drown herself in routine. University assignments, helping her mother, long hours of sewing with her, everything kept her busy. But nothing could silence the ache inside. She kept asking herself, why did he pull away? Was I wrong to feel something? Did I imagine it all? And every time she thought of him, her eyes filled with tears she refused to let fall. But destiny doesn't like unfinished stories. One Saturday afternoon, Zara went with her best friend to a local book fair. Books had always been her safe space, pages that never betrayed, stories that never left unfinished. As she browsed through novels, she suddenly froze. Because across the same stall, with a sketchbook in hand, stood Ion. Their eyes met. The world around them blurred. For a few seconds, neither moved, neither spoke. Just silence, thick, heavy, almost unbearable. Finally, Zara looked away, pretending to focus on a book. Ion's heart raced. He wanted to walk away, but his feet betrayed him. He walked closer. Hi, his voice was low, uncertain. Zara didn't look up. Hello. He swallowed hard. How have you been? She flipped a page without reading. Good. Busy. Ion's chest tightened. He wanted to ask 1,000 things, but her coldness cut him. Before he could say more, her friend called, Zara, let's go, we're getting late. Zara nodded, turned to leave, but then paused. For a moment, she looked at him, her eyes holding a storm of questions and pain. Then she walked away. Ion stood there, staring at her disappearing figure, whispering to himself. She hates me now, and maybe I deserve it. Days later, another encounter. This time, not fate, family. Ion's cousin, the bride, invited Zara and her best friend again for a dinner gathering. Ion didn't want to go, but his mother insisted. When he arrived, the room was full of laughter. Zara was already there, helping set the table. She looked radiant in her simplicity, but her smile no longer reached her eyes. Throughout the evening, their eyes met only in stolen glances, hers filled with hurt, his with guilt. Words stayed locked inside. At one point, as Zara passed by carrying a tray, Ion couldn't resist. He whispered softly, Zara. She froze for a moment, then looked at him. Yes. He opened his mouth, but before he could speak, her best friend called out, Zara, come here. Zara gave him one last glance, distant, unreadable, and walked away. That night, Ion sat in his room, restless. His sketchbook lay open, but his hands refused to draw. Instead, he wrote one line over and over again. Why can't I say what my heart screams every day? Both of them were drowning in silence. Both of them wanted to reach out. But pride, fear, and misunderstanding had chained their hearts. And yet, destiny had more plans. Because sometimes, love finds its way back, not through choice, but through circumstances neither could imagine. Some distances are built by pride, some by fear. But destiny has a habit of breaking them without permission. It had been more than a month since that dinner at his cousin's house. Ion tried to bury himself in work. Deadlines, clients, endless sketches, anything to keep him distracted. But every time he picked up a pencil, he ended up drawing her face. Every time he saw the color pink or blue, he thought of her dress. Every time someone laughed softly in the office, he turned instinctively, expecting it to be Zara. But she was nowhere. Zara, meanwhile, had closed herself off. She no longer allowed her heart to wander toward his memory. She convinced herself, it was never real. He never felt what I felt. She threw herself into studies, preparing for her final exams. At home, she helped her mother late into the night, her hands busy with stitching while her heart quietly bled. And yet, sometimes, just sometimes, when she was alone, she would whisper into the silence. Why, Ion? Why didn't you say anything? Then came the day destiny interfered. It was a Sunday morning. Ion's cousin, the bride, called him in panic. Ion, please, I need your help. There's a university charity event today, and my best friend Zara was handling the arrangements. But something went wrong, the decorator cancelled last minute. You're good with creative setups, can you please come and help? Zara is really stressed. The mention of Zara's name froze Ion. He wanted to refuse, to protect himself from more pain. But his heart betrayed him. Okay, I'll come. When he arrived at the university hall, the scene was chaos. Chairs stacked in the wrong places, banners half hung, students running around confused. And in the center of it all, Zara. She was giving instructions, her dupatta slipping off her shoulder as she hurried from one corner to another. Her face was tired, her voice strained, yet she carried herself with determination. Ion stood silently at the entrance for a few seconds, just watching her. Then, slowly, he walked forward. Zara turned, and froze. Her eyes widened, shock flashing across her face. You, she whispered. Ion cleared his throat nervously. Your friend called me. Said you needed help. Zara blinked, struggling to process. You came. Yes, he said quietly. If you don't want me here, I'll leave. She hesitated. Her pride wanted to say go. But her heart, tired and desperate, said otherwise. She sighed. No, stay. We need all the help we can get. And so, for the first time after weeks of silence, they worked side by side. Ion climbed ladders to fix lights, hung banners straight, arranged tables neatly. Zara, though hesitant at first, slowly found herself giving him instructions, and he followed without complaint. At one point, as she struggled to carry a heavy box of books, Ion stepped in quietly, taking it from her hands. You'll hurt yourself, he said softly. Zara looked up at him, caught off guard by the tenderness in his voice. For a moment, her heart ached for the Ion she once knew, the one who shared quiet jokes and listened to her dreams. But then, she looked away, reminding herself of the hurt. Hours passed, and the hall began to look beautiful. Students clapped in relief. Zara finally sat on a chair, exhausted. Ion placed a bottle of water in front of her. She hesitated, then accepted it. Their fingers brushed for a second. Both froze. The air between them was heavy again, memories, pain, longing, all tangled in silence. As evening approached, the event began. Guests arrived, students performed, everything went smoothly. Ion stood in a corner, watching Zara from afar. She looked graceful, welcoming the guests with her warm smile. But he also noticed the moment when she sat down quietly, rubbing her tired hands, her smile fading into exhaustion. Something inside him broke. He walked over, crouched near her chair, and whispered, Zara, you don't have to do everything alone. Her eyes met his, filled with unspoken pain. For a moment, she wanted to lean on him, to let him in. But pride, sharp and stubborn, rose again. She stood up abruptly. "Thank you for helping today. But that's all it is, Ion. Help. Nothing more." And with that, she walked away to greet another guest. Ion stood frozen, his chest heavy. But deep down, he knew, this wasn't the end. Destiny had brought them together again for a reason. And it wouldn't let them escape each other so easily. There comes a point when silence becomes heavier than words, when the heart, no matter how stubborn, can no longer stay quiet. After the charity event, Zara thought she would finally be able to close the door. She told herself, that was just coincidence. He came, he helped, and that's it. No more. But fate had different plans. The university team, impressed by Ion's creative setup, asked him to return for another event the following week. Zara was horrified when she learned. Not again. And yet, when she walked into the hall that day, there he was, standing by a stage prop, sleeves rolled up, sketching out design ideas. Her heart skipped, but her face stayed composed. "Back again?" she asked dryly. Ion looked up. His lips curved slightly. "They asked me. I couldn't say no." "You never could say no to people, could you?" she muttered, half to herself. Ion tilted his head, catching the edge in her voice. "And what about you? You've changed, Zara." Her chest tightened. "Maybe I had to." For a moment, their eyes locked. Hurt. Longing. Questions unsaid. Then, before either could speak more, students interrupted with tasks. As the day went on, they worked side by side again, moving props, arranging chairs, fixing details. The air between them was thick with tension, yet every brush of closeness sent sparks neither could deny. At one point, Zara was on a stool, trying to hang a banner. She lost balance, slipping slightly. In an instant, Ion's hands caught her waist, steadying her. Their faces were inches apart. Breathing the same air. Hearts racing. Zara's eyes widened. "Let go," she whispered, though her voice betrayed her. Ion held her for a second longer than necessary, then stepped back. His eyes, however, didn't leave hers. Later, when the hall was empty, Zara sat alone, tying ribbons around a stack of books for the guests. Ion approached quietly. "Zara," he began, voice low. She didn't look up. "Don't, Ion. Please." "I need to say this," he insisted, sitting across from her. "I know I've hurt you. I know I pushed you away when I shouldn't have. But," he paused, his throat dry. "It wasn't because I didn't care. It was because I cared too much." Her hands stilled. Slowly, she lifted her eyes to his. "Then why, Ion? Why make me feel like I was nothing? Why let me believe I imagined everything?" His voice cracked. "Because I thought you already had someone else. I saw you with that guy, the gifts, the calls. I thought." Zara gasped, realization dawning. "Oh God, you thought." Her eyes softened with disbelief and hurt. "Ion, that man was my cousin. He was just dropping things off for the event. The phone calls. They were about managing everything. That's all." Ion froze. His chest tightened as the truth sank in. All those weeks of silence, of pushing her away, of sleepless nights, built on a misunderstanding. Tears welled in Zara's eyes. She whispered, voice trembling, "Do you know how much you broke me, Ion? I thought I wasn't worth your trust. I thought I wasn't worth you." Her words shattered him. Ion leaned closer, his voice heavy with regret. "Zara, you are worth more than I ever deserved. I was a fool. I let my fear and doubt ruin everything." Her tears fell silently, each drop carrying weeks of pain. For the first time, Ion's hand reached out, trembling, and gently touched hers. "Please," he whispered, "give me a chance to make it right." The hall lights flickered off as the janitor entered, breaking the moment. Zara quickly pulled her hand back, wiping her tears. She stood, gathering her things. Without looking at him, she said softly, "Some wounds don't heal with words, Ion. Let's see if your actions speak louder." And she walked away, leaving Ion standing in the half-dark hall, his heart heavy but a glimmer of hope ignited. For the first time, hearts had spoken. But the story was far from over. Because love isn't just about confessions, it's about proving them. And soon, destiny would demand proof. Love becomes real not when it's confessed, but when it's tested. After that evening in the university hall, both Ion and Zara carried the weight of unfinished words. For Zara, it wasn't easy to forgive. The pain of being doubted, the loneliness of silence, and the fear of being hurt again, it all sat heavy in her chest. She wanted to believe him, but trust once broken is fragile. For Ion, guilt consumed him. Every time he remembered her tears, he hated himself. He knew this wasn't something that could be fixed with sorry. He needed to show her, prove to her, that she could trust him again. The chance came sooner than expected. One afternoon, Zara's mother fell ill suddenly. It wasn't life-threatening, but the family needed immediate help: medicine, a doctor's visit, groceries. Zara was overwhelmed, juggling everything alone. And just when she stood outside the pharmacy, struggling with heavy bags, a familiar voice spoke. "Here, let me take those." She turned. Ion. Her first instinct was to refuse. Pride told her to say no. But her hands ached, her eyes were tired. She let him take the bags. They walked in silence. At the gate of her house, Zara finally said softly, "Why are you here, Ion?" He looked at her, serious. "Because when you're in trouble, I can't stay away. No matter how angry you are at me." Her chest tightened. She wanted to argue, but his sincerity shook her. Inside the house, Ion respectfully greeted her mother, arranged the medicines, even cooked simple rice when he saw Zara struggling in the kitchen. Zara watched quietly from the doorway. There was no grand gesture, no dramatic words, just small, gentle actions that spoke louder than anything he had said before. Her heart whispered, maybe he really means it this time. But just when things seemed to soften, a storm began to rise. That evening, as Ion left Zara's house, he ran into a neighbor, a distant relative of Zara's family. The woman eyed him suspiciously and later mentioned to Zara's aunt that she had seen Zara with a young man. By night, whispers had already begun. Zara is always with that boy. Is he her fiancé? Or just a friend? Doesn't look good for a girl to be seen like this. The words reached Zara's family within days. One evening, Zara's uncle confronted her mother. People are talking, Apa. They keep seeing Zara with this boy, Ion. We don't know his family, his intentions. This could harm Zara's reputation. Zara overheard the conversation. Her face burned with shame and helplessness. Later, alone in her room, she whispered in frustration, "Why, Ion? Why does every step toward you make my life harder?" The next day at university, she met him near the library. Her voice was sharp, her eyes filled with hurt. "Ion, do you realize what's happening? People are talking. My family is questioning me. All because of you showing up again and again." Ion froze. "Zara, I was only trying to help." "I didn't ask for your help," she snapped. Her voice cracked as tears threatened. "Do you know how hard it is for a girl when her character is questioned? When people start gossiping?" Ion's heart shattered at her words. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Zara, please. I never meant to hurt you. Tell me what I should do, and I'll do it. Just don't push me away again." Her eyes softened for a second, but then, she turned her face away. "I don't know, Ion. I really don't know if love is enough in this world." Those words struck like thunder. For the first time, Ion realized, it wasn't just about their feelings anymore. It was about families, society, and a world that might never understand them. And now, both had to decide, was their love strong enough to survive these tests? Love is tender. But the world around it is often cruel. Days turned into weeks, and the whispers around Zara grew louder. Neighbors, relatives, even university peers, they all had something to say. None of them knew the truth, yet their tongues were sharp enough to wound. Her mother tried to stay strong, but one evening she quietly said to Zara, "Beta, people are watching. They don't understand friendship or trust. They only see what they want to see. I don't want your name dragged through mud." Those words pierced Zara's heart. She wanted to scream, it's not what they think. But she knew her mother was right, the world didn't care for explanations. Meanwhile, Ion noticed the distance growing again. Zara's replies to his texts became shorter. Sometimes, she didn't reply at all. In university, she avoided eye contact. Finally, one evening, he couldn't take it anymore. He waited outside her house. When she stepped out to buy something, he appeared. Zara, please, talk to me. She froze, shocked. Ion, what are you doing here? If someone sees you. I don't care what they see, he interrupted, his voice trembling. I just care about you. Why are you pushing me away again? Her eyes filled with unshed tears. Because, Ion, love isn't enough when the whole world stands against it. Their conversation was cut short when her uncle appeared from the corner of the street. His eyes widened with anger. Zara! Who is this boy? He demanded, his voice echoing in the lane. Zara's face turned pale. Ion stepped forward, trying to stay respectful. Assalamu alaikum, uncle. I'm Ion. But the uncle didn't let him finish. So you're the one ruining our family's name. Meeting girls in the street like this? Have you no shame? Zara's lips trembled. Uncle, please, it's not like that. Silence, he roared. From tomorrow, you won't step out without permission. And as for this boy, stay away from my niece, or you'll regret it. He grabbed Zara's arm and dragged her inside, leaving Ion standing in the dark, his heart breaking into pieces. That night, Zara cried silently in her room. Her mother knocked softly, entering with a heavy heart. Beta, I know you like him. I can see it in your eyes. But your uncle is furious. If this continues, they will force me into decisions neither of us want. Zara whispered through her tears, Ami, what about my heart? Doesn't it matter? Her mother hugged her tightly. Your heart matters to me, but this world doesn't listen to hearts, only to rules. Zara wept in her mother's arms, torn between love and duty. On the other side of the city, Ion sat on his bed, fists clenched. His sketchbook lay open, but instead of drawings, it was filled with angry scribbles and broken words. Why does love have to be a crime? His mother entered quietly, noticing his turmoil. Ion, what's wrong? For a moment, he wanted to tell her everything. But fear gripped him. What if she, too, said the same words, that Zara wasn't meant for him? That society wouldn't allow it. So he stayed silent, his eyes wet. Days passed. Zara stopped answering his calls altogether. In university, she avoided him like he was a stranger. It wasn't out of hatred, it was out of fear. One afternoon, Ion finally cornered her in the library. His voice was low but desperate. Zara, don't do this to me. Please. Talk to me. She looked at him, her face pale, her eyes swollen from crying. Ion, she whispered, her voice breaking, I love you. More than I can ever say. But my family will never accept us. My uncle, my relatives, they're already making my life hell. If I keep holding on to you, they will ruin my mother's peace too. I can't let that happen. Ion's chest felt like it was tearing apart. So what are you saying, Zara? That we end it. Just like that. Her tears fell onto the open book between them. Sometimes, loving someone means letting them go. Those words were daggers. For the first time, Ion felt truly powerless. And for the first time, Zara walked away without looking back. Outside, the sky rumbled with thunder, rain pouring down as if the heavens themselves wept for two hearts being torn apart. But destiny wasn't finished yet. Because sometimes, the breaking point is not the end. It's the beginning of the hardest chapter. Sometimes, the biggest battles are not with the world, but with your own heart. After that day in the library, Ion and Zara became strangers. Zara avoided him in every corridor, every class. She kept her head down, surrounded herself with friends, never allowing her eyes to wander toward him. Yet, every night, she cried into her pillow, whispering his name like a forbidden prayer. I love you, Ion, but I have to bury it. Her mother noticed the shadows beneath her eyes but chose silence, knowing the girl's heart was already in pieces. Ion, on the other hand, was drowning. His world lost color. Sketches that once flowed easily from his hands now looked lifeless. He sat at his desk for hours, staring at blank pages, unable to create. Music, books, laughter, nothing could touch him anymore. His friends invited him out, but he always refused. He spent evenings walking aimlessly through streets, hoping, praying, to catch even a glimpse of Zara. One evening, his cousin, the bride who had introduced them, confronted him. "Ion, what's wrong with you these days? You don't eat, you don't laugh, you don't even pick up calls." Ion forced a weak smile. "I'm fine." "No, you're not," she pressed, her eyes narrowing. "This is about Zara, isn't it?" At the mention of her name, his heart trembled. He didn't reply. His cousin sighed deeply. "Ion, if you really love her, you can't just sit here dying slowly. Either fight for her, or let her go completely. But don't destroy yourself like this." That night, Ion lay awake on the rooftop, staring at the stars. His heart whispered, "Fight. Don't give up." But his mind argued, "Her family will never accept you. You'll only hurt her more." Tears slid down his cheeks as he whispered into the night, "Why, Allah, show me what's right. I can't lose her, but I can't see her suffer because of me either." Meanwhile, Zara was facing storms of her own. Her uncle had started dropping hints about finding her a suitable proposal. Every mention stabbed her heart. She nodded silently, never daring to argue. One afternoon, her best friend cornered her in the canteen. "Zara, what's going on? Why are you avoiding Ion? Don't lie, I can see it in your eyes. You love him." Zara's tears brimmed, but she forced a smile. "Sometimes love isn't enough, Heine. Sometimes, family comes first." Her friend slammed her hand on the table. "But what about your happiness? Zara, you'll die inside if you let him go." Zara looked down, whispering brokenly, "Maybe that's the sacrifice I have to make." A week passed like this, silent storms, hidden tears. Until one evening, fate played its cruel game again. Zara's uncle invited her to meet a family who had shown interest in her. The thought made her stomach twist with dread. She begged her mother, "Ami, please, not yet." But her mother's eyes were filled with helplessness. "Beta, I can't fight them anymore. They will think I'm hiding something if we refuse." That same night, Ion, restless and suffocating, went for a long walk. As he turned a corner near a cafe, his eyes froze. Through the glass window, he saw Zara sitting with her uncle and another family, a young man beside her, smiling politely. Zara's face was pale, her smile forced. But to the world, it looked like a girl meeting her future. A knife twisted inside Ion's chest. He pressed his hand against the cold glass, his breath fogging it. "Zara," he whispered, broken. She didn't see him. But destiny did. Ion stumbled back, his heart in pieces. He wanted to storm inside, to shout, to claim her. But his legs felt paralyzed. For the first time, he wondered, maybe love wasn't written for us after all. Inside the cafe, Zara excused herself to the washroom. The moment she locked the door, tears burst out. She leaned against the mirror, whispering, "Ion, forgive me. This isn't what I want." Outside, in the rain that had just begun to fall, Ion walked away slowly, each step heavier than the last. The storm outside matched the storm within. But storms don't end without destroying something first. Some choices break hearts not because they are wrong, but because they are forced. The cafe meeting planted a seed in her uncle's mind. By the next week, the proposal for Zara came officially. The young man's family seemed respectable, well settled, and most importantly, approved by the relatives. Zara's uncle was pleased. "This is perfect. The family is good, the boy is educated, and most importantly, no one will gossip about her anymore. It will shut people's mouths." Her mother sat quietly, her heart heavy. She glanced at Zara, whose face had turned pale. That night, Zara confronted her mother in tears. "Ami, please, don't let them do this. I can't marry someone else." Her mother cupped her face, tears glistening in her own eyes. "Beta, I know your heart belongs to Ion. But your uncle has made up his mind. If we refuse, He will make life unbearable for both of us. Zara sobbed, "Then what about my life, Ami? Won't it already be unbearable without Ayon?" Her mother hugged her tightly. "Sometimes, we women are forced to sacrifice our dreams for peace in the family. I don't want that for you, but," her voice broke, "I feel helpless." Meanwhile, Ayon's world was falling apart. He couldn't erase the image of Zara sitting with another family, her smile hollow but convincing to outsiders. He shut himself in his room, sketching furiously, as if the pencil could carry the pain away. One sketch after another, all of her. Her eyes, her hands, her smile, her tears. Finally, he ripped the paper, throwing it aside. "I can't let this happen," he muttered, his voice trembling. His cousin, who had introduced him to Zara, found him that evening. "Ayon, I know what you saw at the cafe. But don't give up. If you truly love her, this is the time to fight." Ayon's eyes burned with tears. "But how? Her family hates me. They'll never listen." "Then make them listen," his cousin pressed. "Sometimes love isn't about waiting for destiny, it's about rewriting it." The next day at university, Ayon managed to catch Zara alone. "Zara, please, tell me it's not true. Tell me you don't want this proposal." Her eyes filled instantly. She shook her head weakly. "Ayon, I don't. But what choice do I have? My uncle, my family, they'll never accept us." Ayon stepped closer, his voice fierce with determination. "Then I'll talk to them. I'll prove myself. I'll do whatever it takes." Zara's lips trembled. "And if they still say no?" His eyes softened. "Then I'll keep loving you in silence, for as long as I live. But I won't let them take you away without a fight." Her tears spilled, and for the first time in weeks, she let herself fall into his arms, just for a few seconds, hidden in a quiet corner of the library. But outside that quiet corner, someone else had seen them. Her cousin's friend, known for gossip, spotted the embrace and later mentioned it to Zara's uncle with a smug tone. By evening, her uncle stormed into their house, furious. "Zara, is it true? You're meeting that boy in secret again? Do you want to destroy this family's respect?" Zara's lips trembled, her silence speaking louder than words. Her uncle's voice thundered, "This is final. You will accept the proposal. The engagement will be fixed next month." Zara's mother wept quietly in the corner, unable to protect her daughter. That night, Zara sat alone by her window, staring at the moon. Her heart screamed for Ayon, but her fate was slipping through her fingers. "Why Allah, if he's truly mine, give him the strength to fight for me. Because I can't fight anymore." Meanwhile, Ayon sat with his cousin, fists clenched, his eyes burning with resolve. "I'm going to her house tomorrow," he said, his voice steady. "They may throw me out, they may insult me, but I'll tell them the truth. I'll tell them I love her." His cousin looked at him with worry. "Are you ready for the storm that will follow?" Ayon took a deep breath. "I already live in a storm. What else can they take from me?" The stage was set. One heart trapped, one heart ready to fight. And destiny waiting for the clash. When love is pushed into corners, it either dies silently, or roars aloud. The next morning, Ayon stood outside Zara's house, his palms sweating, heart racing. His cousin had warned him, "They will shout, they will insult, they might even throw you out. Be prepared." But Ayon's heart was steady. "If I don't fight for her now, I'll regret it for the rest of my life." He took a deep breath and rang the bell. Zara's mother opened the door. Her face paled when she saw him. "Ayon, what are you doing here? If your uncle sees you." "I need to talk to him," Ayon said firmly. "Please, Ami. For Zara's sake." Her eyes filled with pain. "Beta, you don't know what you're stepping into. They won't listen." "Maybe," he said softly, "but I can't live with the regret of not trying." Before she could stop him, Zara's uncle entered the hallway, frowning. "Who's at the door?" His eyes fell on Ayon, and they turned to fire. "You again. Didn't I warn you to stay away from my niece?" Ayon stepped forward respectfully but boldly. "Uncle, with all due respect, I'm not here to cause disrespect." I'm here to speak my heart. The uncle's voice thundered. We don't want your heart. We want our family's dignity. A boy like you has no place here. Zara, hearing the commotion, rushed downstairs. The moment her eyes met Ion's, her breath caught. Ion, what are you doing? She whispered, fear and longing mixing in her voice. He looked at her, his eyes soft but resolute. Something I should have done long ago. Then he turned back to her uncle. Uncle, I love Zara. I always have. I didn't come here in secret, I didn't come here to shame anyone. I came here because I want to do this the right way. I want to marry her. The room fell into stunned silence. Zara's mother gasped softly. Zara's hands trembled. And her uncle's face turned red with rage. You think love is enough? You have no status, no background we respect. What can you give her? Dreams and sketches. Respect doesn't run on emotions, boy, it runs on family name and wealth. Ion's voice shook, but his words were steady. I may not be rich, but I'm honest. I may not have your respect yet, but I will earn it. I promise you, I will keep Zara happier than anyone else can. Zara's eyes welled with tears. Her heart wanted to run to him, but her feet stayed frozen by fear. Her uncle slammed his hand on the table. Enough. You think I'll give my niece to you? Over my dead body. Zara is already promised elsewhere. The engagement will be fixed next month, and you will never step foot here again. Zara flinched at his words. Uncle, please. Silence, Zara, he barked. Don't you dare speak in his defense. Her mother cried quietly, torn between love for her daughter and fear of her brother's wrath. Ion stepped closer, his eyes burning with emotion. Uncle, you can lock her in this house, you can silence her voice, but you can't erase what's in her heart. Zara loves me. And I love her. No proposal, no engagement, no forced marriage will change that truth. Zara's tears fell freely now. She whispered, barely audible, Ion. The uncle's rage reached its peak. Get out, he roared. If I ever see you near my house again, I swear, there will be consequences you won't forget. He grabbed the door, ready to slam it shut. But before Ion stepped out, he looked one last time at Zara. His eyes held a silent promise, this isn't over. I will fight for you. And then the door slammed shut, leaving Zara trembling in the hallway, her heart shattering between love and fear. That night, Zara sat in her room, staring at the ring her uncle had shown her, the one meant for her proposal. She held it in her palm, her tears falling onto the metal. How can I wear this when my heart already belongs to someone else? Meanwhile, Ion sat on his rooftop again, his chest heavy but his spirit unbroken. I won't stop, he whispered to the night. Not until she's mine. Not until they understand. But destiny was already preparing a twist neither of them could see coming. Sometimes, the plans of people collapse, because destiny writes its own script. After the confrontation, silence fell heavy in Zara's home. Her uncle didn't speak to her for days, except for sharp commands. Her mother walked around quietly, avoiding her daughter's eyes, torn in helplessness. And Zara, she lived like a prisoner. Books couldn't distract her, laughter felt like a forgotten language, and every corner of the house reminded her of what she was losing. At night, she whispered into the darkness, Ion, if only you knew how much I want to run to you. Meanwhile, Ion was restless but determined. His cousin advised him again and again. Let some time pass. Don't push too hard, or they'll make things worse for Zara. But Ion's heart ached. He wanted to see her, to protect her, to take her away from the cage she was trapped in. Yet he forced himself to wait. Then, fate struck in an unexpected way. One evening, Zara's uncle complained of severe chest pain. He collapsed in the living room, clutching his heart. Panic filled the house. Neighbors rushed in, and within minutes, they were on the way to the hospital. Zara and her mother sat outside the emergency ward, trembling, praying. The doctors stabilized him but warned, his blood pressure is very high. Stress and anger could be dangerous for his heart. You must take care. The news spread quickly among relatives. Some came to visit, offering prayers. Among them, whispers began again. Maybe this is a sign. He's too strict with Zara. The poor girl suffers in silence. But still, the proposal must continue. It will ease the family tensions. Zara sat silently, her eyes staring blankly at the floor. Inside, her heart screamed, even when he's on a hospital bed, they're planning my life without asking me once. The next day, as Zara went to the hospital with food for her uncle, she froze. In the corridor, standing near the pharmacy window, was Ayon. Her breath caught. Ayon. He turned, his eyes softening instantly when they met hers. For a moment, both forgot where they were, who might see them. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. I heard about your uncle. Is he okay? She nodded faintly. Stable, but everyone is tense. And now, they want to hurry the proposal, thinking it will reduce stress. Her voice broke at the last words. Tears filled her eyes. Ayon's fists clenched. Zara, this isn't fair. Your life isn't medicine for someone else's illness. You deserve to choose. Her tears spilled. But Ayon, I don't have the strength to fight them anymore. His eyes softened, and for a moment, his hand almost reached for hers. But footsteps echoed nearby, and Zara quickly stepped back, hiding her face. Go, she whispered. If they see you here, everything will get worse. Ayon hesitated, his heart torn. Then he nodded, whispering firmly, I'll wait, Zara. No matter what happens, I'll wait. She turned away before her tears betrayed her completely. But fate was not done. That night, as Zara's uncle lay in his hospital bed, weakened but awake, he called her and her mother close. His voice was frail, but his authority remained. Listen carefully. I don't want any more disgrace. The boy, Ayon, forget him. The engagement with Asfan's family will be finalized within 2 weeks. Zara's heart sank, her lips trembling. Her mother tried to plead, please, give her some time. But his eyes flashed. No. I may not live long. I want this responsibility finished before I close my eyes. Zara broke down silently, her tears soaking the hospital blanket. Outside the hospital, Ayon stood under the dim streetlight, looking up at the building, unaware of the decision being made inside. He whispered to himself, whatever storm comes, I won't let her go. Not like this. But destiny was about to test his promise in ways he couldn't imagine. Sometimes silence is not weakness, sometimes it is the scream of a heart breaking inside. 2 weeks passed like shadows for Zara. Her uncle's health improved slightly, but his stubbornness grew stronger. His mind was fixed. Zara's engagement with Asfan's family must happen at any cost. Her mother pleaded in whispers, at least let her finish her studies. But he shook his head. No. The sooner she's tied, the safer she'll be from shame. Zara listened quietly, her heart shrinking day by day. The day of the proposal gathering arrived. Their house was decorated modestly. Gold plates of sweets, fresh flowers, relatives bustling around. On the outside, it looked like celebration. On the inside, Zara felt like a prisoner being dressed for her own sentencing. She sat in her room, staring at her reflection. The light pink dress her mother had given her looked beautiful, but her eyes were swollen from sleepless nights. Her mother entered, her hands trembling as she fixed Zara's dupatta. Beta, please don't hate me. I tried, but I can't stop them. Zara held her hand tightly, tears brimming. Ami, just tell me one thing. When a daughter cries like this, does no one hear her? Her mother hugged her, crying silently. Downstairs, Asfan's family arrived. He was polite, well-mannered, but distant, as if this was just another duty for him. Her uncle beamed proudly, offering sweets, showing hospitality. She's a good girl. Quiet, obedient, well-educated. You won't regret this match. Relatives nodded, approving. Mashallah, such a nice family. Perfect rishta. Zara was called downstairs. She walked slowly, every step heavier than the last. Her heart prayed, Ya Allah, if there is any hope left for me and Ayon, show me a sign. At the same time, Ayon sat restlessly with his cousin. He had heard rumors, Zara's engagement is happening today. His chest tightened like a vice. He grabbed his jacket, standing up suddenly. I can't just sit here. If I lose her today, I lose everything. His cousin tried to hold him back. Ion, think carefully. If you go there now. But Ion's voice cracked, his eyes brimming with tears. If I don't, I'll regret it forever. She needs me. And with that, he rushed out into the night. Back at Zara's house, the moment arrived. The tray with sweets and rings was brought forward. Zara's hands trembled as her uncle pushed the tray toward her. Beta, it's time. Put the ring, and let's finish this with respect. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her heart screamed for Ion, but her tongue was frozen. Asfan's mother smiled gently. Zara Betty, don't be shy. It's just a formality. Tears slipped down her cheeks. She whispered, almost inaudibly, I can't. Her uncle's voice grew sharp. Zara, don't create drama in front of guests. Be obedient. The room grew tense. Relatives exchanged looks. Some whispered, why is she refusing? Her mother's hand shook, torn between protecting her daughter and obeying her brother. Just as Asfand reached for the ring, the front door burst open. Everyone turned in shock. Ion stood there, breathless, eyes blazing with desperation. The entire room froze. Zara's heart stopped, half in fear, half in relief. Ion, she whispered. Her uncle's face turned red with fury. You dare come here. But Ion didn't flinch. His voice trembled, but it carried across the room. I can't stay silent anymore. Zara doesn't want this. You all know it, you just refuse to listen. If anyone has the right to put a ring on her hand, it's me. Gasps filled the room. Relatives muttered, shocked at his audacity. Zara's tears flowed freely, her hands pressed to her mouth. Her uncle roared, throw him out. Right now. But Ion stepped further in, his eyes locked on Zara. Zara, tell them the truth. Do you love me? Or do you accept this proposal? The room fell into absolute silence. Every eye turned to her. Her mother's heart raced. Asfan's family stiffened, waiting. Her uncle's glare could kill. And Zara stood trembling, her lips quivering, her heart on fire. One word from her could change everything. But could she say it? There comes a moment when silence kills more than words ever could. The living room was frozen in shock. Guests shifted uncomfortably, Asfan's family looked insulted, her uncle's fury trembled in the air. And in the middle of it all stood Zara, tears streaming down her face, her lips quivering with the weight of 1,000 unsaid truths. Ion's voice broke the silence once more. Zara, look at me. Tell them. Do you love me? His eyes begged her for honesty, for courage. Her mother whispered desperately, Zara, don't, please don't ruin everything. Her uncle thundered, say it, girl. Tell this boy to leave. Show everyone you have dignity. Zara's heart pounded. Her body shook. She looked at Ion, his eyes held only love, pain, and a promise of forever. She closed her eyes, took a trembling breath, and whispered, her voice barely audible at first. Yes. Gasps filled the room. Some women covered their mouths in shock, some men muttered angrily. But Ion heard it, his world lit up with those 3 letters. Zara opened her eyes, tears spilling freely now, and spoke louder, stronger than she thought she could. Yes, I love him. I always have. And no matter what anyone says, I can't lie about my heart anymore. Her uncle's hand slammed the table, shaking with rage. Enough. You've brought shame to this house. Zara flinched but did not back down. Her voice trembled, but her words stood firm. Shame is living a lie, uncle. Shame is marrying someone while my heart belongs to another. I can't do it. I won't do it. Her mother sobbed quietly, torn between pride in her daughter's courage and fear of the storm that followed. Ion stepped closer, his eyes locked on Zara. His voice was steady, filled with emotion. You don't need to be afraid anymore. I'll face everything with you. If they throw me out, I'll still wait for you. If they curse me, I'll still love you. But at least today, you spoke the truth. Zara's tears turned into a broken smile. For the first time in weeks, she felt free, if only for a moment. Asfan's family stood up, offended. His mother's tone was cold. We will not tolerate this insult. If the girl doesn't respect her elders, she won't respect our family. We're leaving. They stormed out, leaving murmurs and whispers behind. Relatives shook their heads. Some muttered, such shamelessness. Others whispered, maybe the girl is right. Why force her? But Zara's uncle only saw red. He stood, pointing a trembling finger at Aion. You've poisoned her mind. You've destroyed her respect. Get out before I lose control. Aion didn't move. His voice was calm but firm. I won't leave her alone again. If you think I don't deserve her, give me a chance to prove it. I'll work day and night, I'll earn your respect. But don't punish Zara for loving me. For a moment, even the uncle was stunned into silence. His chest heaved, his hand clutching his heart. The memory of his recent illness flashed across everyone's mind. Her mother cried, please calm down. Don't strain yourself. But his rage wouldn't let him bend. If you stay in her life, I swear on my honor, I will disown her. She will have no family, no home, nothing. Is this what you want, Zara? To ruin everything for a boy? The room grew deathly quiet. All eyes turned to Zara again. Her uncle's threat hung heavy, choose your family, or choose him. Her hands shook violently. Her heart screamed for Aion, but her eyes saw her mother's tears, her uncle's fragile health, the crushing weight of family honor. Her lips trembled. Would she hold on to love, or sacrifice it for blood ties? Her voice broke into the silence, one word trembling on her lips. Sometimes the heaviest burden is not what others put on your shoulders, but what your own heart forces you to carry. The room was heavy with silence. Zara's uncle's words echoed in the air. If you choose him, you will have no family, no home, nothing. Zara stood frozen, trembling, her tears falling like rain. Aion's eyes burned into hers, silently pleading, don't let go of us. Not now. Her mother wept quietly, wringing her hands, unable to look her daughter in the eyes. Finally, Zara whispered through her tears. I can't. Her words sliced through Aion's heart like a blade. I can't choose you, Aion. If I do, my mother will lose her home. My uncle's health will shatter. The family will disown me. I can't bear that guilt. Her voice broke. I love you, Aion, but I can't destroy them for us. The room gasped. Some nodded approvingly at her obedience, while others whispered in pity. Aion stumbled a step back, his chest tightening. His voice cracked, raw with pain. Zara, no. Don't do this. You just confessed in front of everyone. You said you love me. How can you walk away now? Zara's tears poured harder. She pressed her hands to her face. Because sometimes love means sacrifice. And if sacrificing you saves my family, then that's what I must do. Her uncle exhaled deeply, satisfied. At least she still remembers her duty. This is the last time, Zara. If I ever hear his name again, you'll lose everything. Understand? Zara nodded weakly, her soul breaking piece by piece. Aion's cousin, who had rushed in behind him, whispered angrily, Come on, Aion. Don't humiliate yourself here. Let's go. But Aion stood rooted, his eyes fixed on Zara. His voice trembled, almost a whisper, Zara, do you really want me to walk away? Zara's lips parted, but no words came. Only tears. That silence was the answer. Aion's eyes glistened. He forced a bitter smile through his pain. Fine. If this is your choice, I'll leave. But Zara, know this. My love for you won't die. Even if you bury it, even if you call it wrong, it will live inside me. Forever. Zara broke down, sobbing uncontrollably as Aion turned and walked toward the door. Her mother rushed to hold her as she collapsed onto the floor, whispering between sobs, Why Allah, what have we done to our daughter? Her uncle, though pale and shaken, muttered coldly, We've protected her future. That's what we've done. But deep down, even he knew, this wasn't protection. This was a cage. Outside, Ion stumbled into the dark street, his cousin supporting him. He clenched his fists, tears streaming down his face. I lost her, but not because she stopped loving me. I lost her, because she loved too much. He looked up at the night sky, whispering, "Ya Allah, give me the strength to live with this emptiness." Inside the house, Zara sat in her room, hugging Ion's sketch that she had hidden in her drawer. She pressed it to her heart, whispering, "Forgive me, Ion. I broke us, to save them." Her sobs filled the night until exhaustion pulled her into a restless sleep. But destiny wasn't done yet. This sacrifice was not the end, it was the beginning of a new storm. Distance doesn't always come from miles. Sometimes it grows inside the heart, when love is silenced by duty. Weeks passed after that stormy night. The whispers in the family quieted, but the scars in Zara and Ion's hearts grew deeper. For the world, life moved on. For them, every day felt like a punishment. Zara's world. She returned to university, but she wasn't the same girl anymore. Her laughter was gone, replaced by silence. Her friends noticed. One day, her close friend Heine asked softly, "Zara, where's your smile? You've changed." Zara forced a smile. "I'm just busy with family matters." But when Heine left, Zara's eyes filled with tears. She knew her heart was locked in a prison of promises she never wanted to make. At home, her uncle avoided the topic of her engagement for now, waiting for the right time. But he watched her closely, ensuring she stayed silent. Her mother, guilt-ridden, grew weaker inside. She often whispered late at night when Zara pretended to sleep, "Ya Allah, forgive me. I broke my daughter's wings." Ion's world. Ion buried himself in work and art. He started taking freelance projects, sketching for companies, painting portraits, designing for clients, anything to keep his mind occupied. But no matter what he drew, her face always appeared in the lines. His cousin asked him one evening, "Why torture yourself? If she chose her family, let her go." Ion's voice cracked, "She didn't choose against me. She chose for them. That's the difference. How do I hate her for that?" At night, he'd walk past her street, stopping far enough to see the faint glow of her room's light. He'd whisper, "I'm still here, Zara, even if you can't see me." Fate's cruel design. Despite their silence, destiny played tricks. At university, Ion and Zara avoided each other, yet their eyes betrayed them. When Ion entered the library, Zara's heart skipped. When Zara passed by the art studio, Ion's chest tightened. They never spoke, but the unsaid words hung between them like invisible chains. One afternoon, it rained heavily. Zara stood under a shade, waiting for the storm to ease. Students rushed past, laughing, running through the downpour. And then, across the courtyard, she saw him. Ion, standing in the rain, soaked but unbothered, his sketchbook clutched under his arm. He wasn't laughing, wasn't running, he was just staring at the sky, lost in thought. Their eyes met. For a moment, time froze. The rain, the noise, the crowd, it all blurred. Only the two of them existed. Zara's lips parted, as if she wanted to call his name. But then she remembered her uncle's threat, her mother's tears, the cage around her heart. She turned away. And Ion closed his eyes, letting the rain hide his tears. Back home that night, Zara wrote in her hidden diary, "Why does love feel like a crime? I saw him today, and every drop of rain reminded me of what I've lost. But still, my heart whispers his name in every prayer." Meanwhile, Ion sketched again, the image of a girl standing under the shade, her dupatta caught in the wind, her eyes full of pain. He titled it, "The Distance." But fate wasn't done. The next week, a wedding invitation came for Zara's family, from a distant cousin. Her uncle insisted, "We must all attend. Relatives will be there, it's important." Zara agreed quietly, not knowing destiny had another plan. Because the same wedding card reached Ion's house too. His cousin smirked. "Looks like we'll both be there." And for the first time since their separation, their paths were about to cross not as lovers, but as strangers bound by silence. Some meetings aren't planned by people, they are written silently by fate. The wedding hall glowed with golden lights, the sound of laughter and dole echoing in the air. Relatives bustled about in colorful clothes, children ran between tables, and the aroma of biryani filled the space. Zara entered with her mother and uncle, her dupatta draped carefully, her face calm but her heart restless. Weddings always suffocated her now. The idea of marriage had become a cage she dreaded. Her mother whispered, "Stay close, Beta." Zara nodded silently, her eyes scanning the crowd without meaning to. And then she froze. Across the hall, Ayon walked in with his cousin. He wore a simple black sherwani, his hair slightly tousled, his eyes sharp yet distant. Her breath caught. For a second, the noise of the wedding vanished. Only his presence filled her world. Ayon's eyes searched unconsciously, until they found her. Zara, sitting quietly beside her mother, her pink dress glowing under the chandelier. Their eyes met across the hall, and time slowed. 1,000 unspoken words filled that single glance. Pain. Longing. Love. Regret. Ayon's cousin leaned in, whispering, "There she is, are you ready for this?" Ayon's lips tightened. "I wasn't ready to lose her. Do you think I'll ever be ready to see her like this?" Throughout the ceremony, fate played cruel games. Whenever Zara turned her head, she caught him watching. Whenever Ayon looked away, her eyes followed him. They didn't speak, but every look screamed of the storm within. Relatives noticed. "Isn't that boy Ayon? Didn't he create drama before?" "Yes, but look at him, he hasn't moved on either." Whispers floated, but neither of them cared. During dinner, destiny pushed them closer. Zara walked toward the buffet table when she almost collided with him. Her plate shook in her hands, her eyes widened. Ayon instinctively reached out, steadying it. Their hands brushed, sparks of pain and love all at once. "Zara," he whispered, his voice raw. Her lips trembled. "Please, not here." His jaw clenched. "I can't keep pretending. Seeing you like this, it's killing me." Her eyes welled up. She turned quickly, but he caught her wrist lightly, just for a second. "Meet me. Just once. Outside, after this is over. Please." Her heart pounded. She pulled her hand away, afraid someone might see. She whispered back, "Ayon, if they find out." "Then let them," he interrupted softly. "I don't care anymore. I just need to hear your truth one last time." The night dragged on, but Zara's mind couldn't focus. Every laugh, every song, every plate of food blurred into noise. Her heart beat only to the rhythm of fear and longing. When the wedding ended, as relatives prepared to leave, Zara excused herself. She told her mother she needed a few minutes of fresh air. Outside, the cool breeze greeted her. And there he was, waiting in the shadows, near the garden lights. For a moment, they just stared at each other, the silence louder than any words. Finally, Ayon spoke, his voice trembling. "Zara, I tried to stay away. I tried to respect your choice. But every day without you feels like dying slowly. Tell me, do you still love me, or should I bury this forever?" Her eyes filled instantly, her body shaking. "Ayon, you know my heart. It's never changed. But my hands are tied. Every step I take toward you pulls my family closer to destruction." He stepped closer, his eyes fierce. "And what about you? What about your destruction, Zara? Does no one care about that?" Her tears fell. "I care, but my love isn't strong enough to fight them all. I'm sorry." Ayon's chest tightened, his hands trembling at his sides. He wanted to hold her, to protect her, to take her away, but the weight of her tears held him still. "Zara," he whispered brokenly, "if love means watching you break every day, then maybe I don't deserve to call it love anymore." Her heart shattered. She reached out, almost grabbing his hand, but footsteps echoed nearby. They froze. Zara's uncle stepped into the garden, his eyes narrowing, his face turning pale with fury as he saw them standing together. Every story has a moment where hearts either break forever, or find a new beginning. Zara's uncle stood frozen in the garden, his eyes burning with rage. "Zara!" his voice thundered, cutting through the silence like a whip. Zara jumped, her face pale, her hands trembling. Ayon stepped instinctively in front of her, like a shield. "Uncle, please," Zara whispered, but he cut her off. "You shameless girl. After all my warnings, after all the disgrace you brought us, you still meet him? Do you want to destroy what's left of our family's honor?" Her mother rushed out a moment later, hearing the commotion. She gasped when she saw the scene. "Why, Allah," she whispered, holding her chest. Ion spoke, his voice steady but pained. "With all due respect, uncle, honor doesn't come from controlling her life. It comes from giving her happiness. Why can't you see that?" The uncle's face turned red. "And who are you to lecture me? A poor boy with no status, no name, no future. You'll ruin her." Ion's fists clenched, but he held his ground. "I may have nothing, but I love her more than anything in this world. Isn't that worth something?" Zara cried out, stepping between them. "Stop. Please, both of you. I can't take this anymore." Her tears rolled down, her voice breaking. "Uncle, you keep talking about honor. But what about my life? What about my happiness? Am I just a burden you need to control? And Ion, you say you love me, but can't you see I'm drowning between both worlds?" Her body shook as she fell to her knees, covering her face. "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep choosing between love and family." Her mother rushed to her, hugging her tightly. Tears fell from the mother's eyes too. "Forgive me, Beta. I should have fought for you. I let fear guide me, and I broke your heart." For the first time, the uncle looked shaken. His voice faltered. "Zara, I only wanted to protect you. The world is cruel. I thought keeping you away from him was saving you." Zara looked up at him through her tears. "Protecting me shouldn't feel like killing me inside." The uncle's eyes softened for a fleeting second, but his pride quickly hardened again. "No. This can't go on. Zara, you will forget him. That's final." Ion's voice broke in desperation. "Uncle, please. If you truly want her happiness, let her decide. Just once, let her choose for herself." Zara's chest heaved. She looked at Ion, then at her mother, then at her uncle. Her entire world balanced on that single moment. Silence fell. Even the wind seemed to stop. Finally, she whispered, "My choice is to let you go, Ion." The words stabbed like knives. Ion staggered back, his breath stolen, his eyes wide in disbelief. "Zara, no. Don't do this again. Not after everything." Her tears streamed, her voice trembling. "I love you, Ion. More than my own life. But love isn't enough to heal the damage. I can't fight them anymore. I'm tired, so tired. Maybe in another life, we'll belong. But not in this one." Ion's heart shattered, his eyes wet with fire and pain. He whispered brokenly, "You've killed me twice, Zara. First with silence, now with choice. But I'll still pray for your happiness, even if it's without me." He turned away, walking into the darkness, his footsteps heavy, each one echoing like thunder in her soul. Zara screamed his name once, her voice cracking into the night. "Ion!" But he didn't look back. Her mother held her as she collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. Her uncle, shaken, walked away silently, his pride hollow now. The wedding lights flickered behind them, but in Zara's heart only darkness remained. Years later, Zara never married. She lived quietly, helping her mother, carrying the weight of choices she never wanted to make. Ion left the city, building a life elsewhere. His art became famous, portraits of pain, love, and sacrifice. But in every painting, the world could see a nameless woman with tearful eyes, the woman he could never forget. They never met again. But their love remained alive, in silence, in memories, in prayers whispered to the stars. Moral: love is powerful, but when crushed by pride and fear, it becomes a wound that never heals. Sometimes, sacrifice is not strength, it is the cruelty of a world that never lets hearts live freely. And so, their love lived on, not in togetherness, but in eternal longing.